I'm going to call to order the Washoe County Board of County Commissioners meeting for June 22nd, 2021. And we will start with a salute to the flag. Ms. Martinez, would you lead us? Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, item number 2, roll call.
Bob Lucy, Chair, is absent. Vaughn Hartung, Vice Chair.
Here.
Alexis Hill.
Here.
Kitty Jung.
Present.
Jeannie Herman.
Present.
Assistant County Manager Kate Thomas.
I'm here.
And Assistant District Attorney David Wattsfield.
Here.
And I'm Jan Galasini, your County Clerk. Sir, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 3, Madam Manager, would you lead us into public comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 3 is public comment. Comment heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the commission agenda. The commission will also hear public comment during individual action items with comment limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments are to be made to the commission as a whole.
First up, we have Cindy Martinez, followed by Vance Rushing.
Ms. Martinez, welcome.
Good morning, thank you. Good morning to everybody on the commission. May I have the overhead, please? I reiterate our citizens' demand that this commission pass resolutions to declare an end to the public health emergency and to protect the citizens of Washoe County from all usurpations and abuses of power by the state of Nevada. I reiterate our citizens' demands that this commission ban vaccine passports and verification methods that will infringe on our rights to privacy. We do not consent to being tethered to a digital dog collar. Indeed, the Reno Justice Court homepage, as illustrated here, states that a requirement that anyone entering must mask or provide proof of vaccination. This is an abomination and should shock the conscience of liberty-endowed Nevadans. We know the emergency declaration per NRS 414 is still active despite appearances of a return to normalcy. This is a danger that must be faced. We are at the mercy of a tyrannical system, including that of this commission. This morning, I watched the second of 2 videos recently recorded in India in which an adult male and adult female were forcibly vaccinated as they were restrained by agents of that government. In April, I watched recorded videos of Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies forcibly restraining and administering COVID vaccinations to developmentally disabled adults living in group homes. Those who say, oh, that will never happen here, are foolishly naive and whistling past the graveyard in the dark. If you believe for a minute that law enforcement cannot be raised against the law-abiding citizenry, you are mistaken. OSHA, the Nevada Gaming Control Board, terrorized businesses during the pandemic. Chair Bob Lucy, Vice Chair Vaughn Hartung, County Manager Eric Brown, Sheriff Darren Balaam, and Deputy Detective Wes Urban are alleged to have illegally intercepted and confiscated over 100 pieces of mail lawfully deposited for delivery with the U.S. Postal Service, allegedly without probable cause of a crime and without a warrant as required by the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution. And why was this done? To prevent Reno's whistle-down documents from being seen by anyone. The subject of the documents, the apparent lack of qualifications of Assistant County Manager Kate Thomas. The content of the document seems to suggest some kind of Svengali power Chair Lucy believes he holds over her to accomplish his agenda. I am submitting the document known as Reno's whistle down to the public record. The contents of these documents is of profound public interest, and there's 68 pages. I would further point out the apparent attempts to hide what I suspect is illegal or improper allocations of federal relief money as listed in consent agenda items in 7D1. Why retroactive approvals without disclosure of those expenditures? It states the commission must approve expenses greater than $100,000. Yet on May 25th, this commission gave County Manager Eric Brown authority in agenda item 1, I think that's incorrect, 11, to enter in all necessary professional services agreements, construction contracts for the safe camp, not to exceed $300,000 for this homeless safe camp.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez.
Where's the relief for the taxpayer?
Thank you.
Next up is Vance Rushing, followed by Frank Perez, and I have a document to distribute from Mr. Rushing.
Welcome, Mr. Rushing.
Good morning. Can I have the overhead, please? And you zoom in on the picture, please. Okay. That picture is from a series aired back in 1973-74 titled The World at War. That is a frame from minute number 30, episode number 20 of that series, titled Genocide. This book is a compilation of the weapons laws that were put into effect in Germany between 1928 and 1938. Every single law on the book, at federal down to local level, in the U.S., believe it or not, can be found in this book, in this 4 laws. What are Nazi laws or styled laws doing on U.S. books, top to bottom? Not the least of which is the Gun Control Act of 1968. A few months ago, I thought about a case that happened in Kentucky, and it was adjudicated in 1822 over concealed carry of weapons. Every gun law in the United States is an attempt to change, amend, a provision of the Constitution of the United States of America and similar provisions in state constitutions. Article 5 and state constitutions specify the procedure for changing, amending any part of the Constitution of the United States and state constitutions, since all gun laws from federal to local did not go through the amendment process as prescribed in Article 5 and in similar provisions of the state constitutions. Every gun law on the books in the United States are in fact illegal. I consulted 2 attorneys on this. I let them read this, and they agree. One happened to be Joey Gilbert. Okay. And the name of the other one, a woman who I met about 3 weeks ago, escapes me right now. Anyways, every gun law in the books are care of the Democrats, and that can be verified by a little bit of research. And can also be found, okay, that's the legislation there. The case in point, or case that I mentioned here, is Bliss versus Commonwealth of Kentucky, 1822. And on the handout I gave you, you can read what the basic adjudication was. Do away with all gun laws in the United States.
Thank you, Mr. Rushing.
Frank Perez, followed by Melanie Sutton.
Welcome, Mr. Perez.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Frank Perez. I want to take a quick moment to introduce myself, as I will be up for possible appointment to the Washoe County Library Board of Trustees on agenda item 18. I will not be able to attend the full meeting due to professional obligations, but wanted to make sure that I present myself here during public comment. I'm a proud native Nevadan. I was born in Winnemucca, raised just outside of Carson City, and moved to Reno in 2013 to attend the University of Nevada, Reno, where I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science in 2016. I'm proud to serve on a few other governance boards here in the community, such as Community Health Alliance, the second largest health nonprofit in Northern Nevada. Additionally, I serve on the governance board for Pinecrest Academy of Northern Nevada, a small charter school in Spanish Springs. In both of these roles, the board of directors gives direction to the leadership to ensure that we run an effective organization. I'm also proud to serve as chair, and I'm a proud committee member of the Washoe County School District School Naming Committee, where we were able to name a school here in Washoe County after the late Senator Debbie Smith, fallen officer John Bohatch, and several others. I'm proud of the work we have been able to accomplish with these respective organizations. My passion for libraries derives from my childhood, where I read for countless hours at the local library. In 2015, I was a proud advocate for the expansion of library hours at the Trainer Duncan Library. Afterward, I did some programming there where I taught ESL classes on the weekends. As a father to a young 3-year-old, I want to continue doing great work for our libraries and build them to be efficient and resourceful for all the people in our community. If appointed, I believe that I will be a person that will serve the library system well. The commissioners can have confidence in me that I'm only a phone call away. I'm available by cell phone and by email, as stated in my application. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Melanie Sutton, followed by Tracy Thomas.
Welcome, Ms. Sutton.
Thank you. As always, we're here every single week. We would like to, the end to the public health emergency. There is no longer an emergency, questionable that there ever was. Also, I'd like to, Florida courts ruled that it was unconstitutional to force people to wear masks. It was unconstitutional to force people to take the vaccine. It's unconstitutional for the vaccine passports. So as far as that, expect that to continue. And at that point, I think you guys will be liable for lawsuits. For forcing us to wear masks, for forcing us to say we're vaccinated. I didn't lie, I said I was vaccinated because my mom vaccinated me as a child. This is no vaccine. This is a shot that has not been FDA approved, and forcing people to show passports to prove that they've had the COVID shot is unconstitutional. I've had friends that were fired because they refused to get the shot, and they didn't want to be the only person at their job to be wearing a mask because that's divisive. It's showing that you don't believe in the vaccine or shot. I'm not an unvaxxer. Every single one of my children have been vaccinated. As far as vaccines are concerned, like I said, this is not a vaccine. This is a shot that has not been FDA approved, and the FDA says that they will not approve it. It takes about 5 to 10 years for any vaccine to be approved. This was emergency approved because they said that there was no therapeutic drug, which is a lie, because ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine is also a treatment. And because the government has made this political, they did not allow doctors to prescribe that medication for this COVID-19. So that's how they got this shot emergency approved. And then not only that, Dr. Falsey has money ties to the shot. And so, like I say, the same stuff every single week. I don't prepare for anything. I just go off whim of whatever I hear. But yeah, so I'd like the end of the public health emergency because there is no emergency. And I would hope that, I mean, obviously you guys don't listen to us, but I'll still keep coming and talking to you guys because what else am I going to do?
Thank you.
Tracy Thomas, followed by Catherine Snedeker.
Ms. Thomas, welcome.
Good morning. I'm going to switch course on you. I know you guys are used to me being here for the election stuff, but I've got something a little bit different today. Biblical wisdom encourages us in 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. In reviewing the staff report for item 5 on today's agenda, the spirit of sound mind is clearly absent in NRS 122.061. When did marriage licenses become a critical need to the residents of Washoe County? This is absolutely ludicrous. Even DMV is only open from Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Used to be noon, but at least they expanded it to 4 p.m. Their services are certainly more critical than a marriage license. Washoe County's own health department is only open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Are vaccinations being administered up to midnight or even 8 p.m.? And the business license department, yep, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. If anything, last year's pandemic demonstrated that the human race is capable of surviving on reasonable hours of operation. As a matter of fact, we functioned rather well. Many businesses are actually making these changes permanent. The 5,806 licenses issued last year equates to a daily average of just under 16. It would perhaps be helpful to know just how many of those were issued outside of the hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and how many were issued on Saturdays. Hours similar to the DMV's are more than reasonable for marriage licenses in Washoe County. Anything more is a fiscal irresponsibility of taxpayers' resources. It is unjustified, absolutely unnecessary, places an unreasonable hardship on a clearly understaffed office for the hours proposed by state legislatures, and presents an unnecessary security risk to staff and facilities. NRS 122.061 gives you the power to exercise reasonable hours of operation to result in cost savings. I implore you to apply sound judgment and stop the insanity. At least give it a try. It can always be readjusted later if it is found to be necessary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Catherine Snedeker, followed by Nicole Harris.
Welcome, Ms. Snedeker.
Good morning. For the record, I'm Catherine Snedeker, a non-person, non-resident, unenfranchised natural woman. Means I'm not a legal fiction. I'm not a person, like you guys are. You're persons. This county is a person. It's a corporation. You're up here doing the corporation's business, not the people's business. You represent us. That's why we voted for you. And when you don't represent us, you're acting in a proprietary capacity, much like Home Depot. You represent us, not your whims. And I sure the hell hope there isn't a district attorney in this town that's gonna try to represent Kate and Mike. They need to get their own attorneys. And I hope the punishment is grave for those people filing a false report the way they did. Now, this whole pandemic that was not a pandemic, are you aware that a doctor in Southern California tested 1,500 samples of COVID death cells? You know what he found? No COVID. But he found flu A and flu B, because that's what this is. This COVID thing is the biggest lie that's been perpetrated on the people so that you can have your closed-door meetings and make rules about us that you act like our parent and we have to follow you. I don't. I'm not in that legal fiction realm. I don't fall under Washoe County Code. I don't fall under the Nevada Revised Statutes because I am not a person. I'm a natural woman. The only thing I am responsible for is not causing harm to anyone or anything. That's my only job. If I'm speeding, so what? Who did I harm? Who's the injured party? Who was so shocked that they nearly drived off the road? Nobody. Therefore, I can speed. Those speed limit signs are directed at commercial drivers, those that have to have a license and a registration on their car, of which I don't have either, because I'm not in commerce. I'm not using the highways for gainful purposes. I didn't make 5 cents driving to this or traveling to this meeting today. I do not drive. That's an occupation. I do not have a motor vehicle. That's something that's used for gainful purpose. My truck is consumer goods, and that falls under all different rules. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicole Harris, followed by James Bentham.
Welcome, Ms. Harris.
Good morning. I'd like to speak to you on a couple of subjects. Number one, thank you for keeping public comments at the beginning of the meeting so that we can go ahead and share with you what our thoughts are, instead of making us wait to the end of the agenda, which nobody knows what time that will be. Unfortunately, Washoe County School Board is considering implementing that policy. So basically, when they start the meeting, we have to wait in the hot sun, 80, 90 degrees today. They don't even have an air conditioning room here for us, and we need to be outside, and there's no portable system to be able to hear what's going on inside. And so this is real important because this is a forum. So please keep public comments in the beginning of the meeting, not at the end, because who knows how long that's going to be. It's kind of insane. I think you want to hear from us first before you go about your business. After all, you've agendized your business, so we do know what you are going to be discussing today, and I appreciate the orderly manner that the agenda is made available, unlike some of our other governmental entities. Second thing I want to talk about is increasing resources, whether it's time, people, or money for the register of voters. I think that's something we talked about after the election, and it kind of went away. So I think we should develop or consider developing a plan for that. Because as the election gets closer, you're going to hear more and more people coming up saying, well, what are we doing? What are we going to do? And I know us as leaders can probably come up with something that will ensure and instill trust in our system as well as for our citizen. I think that's really important. Third thing is, what are we really going to do? Because this is a joint effort. It's not just you, the commission, or the county commissioners and the register of voters doing whatever. It's also us citizens. So I am looking to being able to forge a partnership with the various department heads and how we're going to do this. Because I believe that's really, really important. Trust right now is at an all-time low. You can't trust what everybody's saying. You have to verify it. And that really is hard to instill great ideas to come forth and to foster an environment where your thoughts, your ideas are welcome so that we can make the progress for what the United States is known for. Thank you.
James
Thank you.
Bentham.
Welcome, Mr. Bentham.
Good morning. James M. Bentham for the record. First of all, I want to say that I support thoughts of Melanie Sutton, and many of us are asking it and supporting an ending of the health emergency. Last year, approximately 690,000 people died of heart disease. Approximately, I think it was 400,000 died of cancer, and I believe 350,000 died of COVID-19. I think these numbers show that heart disease is more of a problem than COVID-19. The same with cancer. I believe that COVID-19 has been politicized. Why would they, the medical community, not use medicine that clearly works on COVID-19? Ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine. These issues need to be brought up and discussed, and I do ask for an ending of the health emergency. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Lastly, we have 2 emails to be placed on the record, one from Doug Flaherty and one from Janet Butcher.
Okay,
And that's all we have.
thank you. All right. We will close public comment, and that takes us to item number 4. Madam Manager.
Item number 4 is a recommendation to accept a budget presentation by Holly Gatsky of the University of Nevada Cooperative Extension and approval and adoption pursuant to NRS 549.020 of the fiscal year 22 budget in the amount of $1,764,305, plus an additional $807,877 for addressing building costs and outdoor programming area establishment, for a total fiscal year '22 budget of $2,572,182 for continued educational, research, outreach, and service programs pertaining to agricultural, community development, health and nutrition, horticulture, personal and family development, and natural resources in the rural and urban communities in the state of Nevada. Hi, Holly.
Hi there.
Ms.
Thank you.
Gatsky, welcome. It's nice to see you again.
Great. It's
Floor
great
is
to be
yours.
here. Great, thank you. I just would like to give you a rundown of how we intend to usefully spend the money from the taxpayers to help the community and the public. I just would going to give you a quick rundown. You've got the memo in front of you. Just to give you an idea of what we're projecting for 2022, we intend to use the county's revenue of 1.7 million. We have state and federal funding of 400,000. We're hoping that may creep up again. We've got some good indication on that. We'll see where it goes. Sponsored projects, just so you know, means grants. So we anticipate or already see $1.3 million worth of grants that we're bringing in to match and enhance our programming, and we're hoping to increase that for 2022. The numbers below that are what has happened. We haven't quite closed out 2021, so that's projected, but pretty close. And 2020, you can see what the revenues were for extension in Washoe. To go to the next page, that gets down to the nitty-gritty of the budget of where we're planning to go. We have an opening balance of $1.495 million. We were a little behind on spending because of COVID delays, but we have kicked in full tilt and moving forward. We've got things like 4-H camps going and multiple programs taking off, going full bore back again. The projected revenue from taxes is 1.764, with a total source of income sitting there at 3.2. Well, that's total amounts of funds. Just what we intend to spend for personnel. Our staff alone will take 1.634. Those majority of those people work right out in the community in areas of need, and everything from 4-H, after-school programs, health and nutrition classes, agriculture, horticulture. You guys, we've talked to each of you, so I don't need to go on. It's quite a list, and we'll come back in the fall and actually present what we're doing for programming and give you details on that. Travel is low. It's only 20,000 because we cover most of that under grants and such, other than what we do right locally. Just so you know, our operating expenses are low as well because we own the building and we rely on the university to do maintenance and things like that. So that kind of is a hidden match that you don't see, but it continues, so our costs are low on that. Just to go through, the big thing I want to explain is the contingency fund of 1.45. That's all the money left over and what happens. So just to get through down to the nitty-gritty of it, other than all of our staff and operating, basically what we're planning to do with the contingency funds is that we will set aside, I'm going to go to the next page, it makes it easier. The minimum contingency of $687,000. Those are costs that we have to do in case of emergency to wind down. Obligated costs, we have to have those on the books. So you set that aside and make sure you have it. Then we're going to be adding in some new computers because our computers are getting old, but most of the money is going to go to developing our new unsheltered persons program and the homeless program. And thank you, Kate, for connecting. I want to introduce Jose Gomez. We've just hired him on. He's got an extensive background in working with disadvantaged youth especially, and he will be our direct contact with the county and the county's program. So I want to say we're up and going. Everything I discussed with you, we're now on the track. He just started, and Kate's introduced him to Amber and Dana to start getting things going, and he's already trying to get his feet wet, knowing what all is going on in this community. And we're very excited in that we believe our portion of that will be to be teaching life skills. And he'll do determining what those are, but we have literacy experts, we have youth experts, we have horticulture experts, and we can bring in workforce and other types of expertise that we need. So we're excited. A good chunk of this money will be going to starting that program, getting it going, and getting our feet on the ground. And as we see the tax base increasing with all the building going on, probably a lot of that will go directly into building that program going forward. So I wanted to let you know. The other high cost is an outdoor teaching area, which we have space on the main station over on McCarran, right by the river. The price of that keeps going up because of cost of construction. We simply want to put up a shelter, as in a shed and some storage facilities, so our 4-H youth can go out there and do activities. Our after-school programs in areas of the city that are Title I, 90% and more, we can take those youth out and let them experience the outdoors and play and learn. Master gardeners will be out there gardening and doing their programs, and we want to connect and interconnect and have people learn from each other and do things out there. So the funds will be going to establish a shed that can be locked down and kept secure, but be open and available to our programs so that they can learn about the earth, the ground, growing, and connect and play just outdoors, which is needed. So that, I'm going to keep it real short and brief. That's what I've got for a presentation today. Do you have any questions?
Thank you so much. You know, it's interesting, our university started, of course, and is a land-grant university, and this is the basis for that. And the programs, I love the way that you've morphed this. I know the programs are just wonderful through the cooperative extension and the 4-H and the after-school programs, but I'm very impressed with how you've kind of morphed this. There's nothing more cathartic than having one's hands in the ground and making something grow. I won't call it my passion, but I definitely enjoy it in the evenings when the air is cool. Commissioners, questions for Ms. Gatsky?
I don't have any questions. I just want to say thank you so much for working with our team on this homeless education program. The community really wants to see that we're working with these folks to really empower them and find them a path forward, and these life skills that you're teaching them and reaching out to this new constituency. It's just very exciting. So thank you so much for working with us on that new program. I'm excited to see the outcomes.
So are we, yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Commissioner Herman, the floor is yours.
I just would say thank you as well for a wonderful program, and it's the best thing we're doing right now. It's really cool. I enjoy the kids and what goes on with their animals and their projects, and it's such a wonderful program, and thank you for being there.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you for your support. Yeah.
All right. Thank you
Great.
so much.
Great, thank you.
See you soon. All right. That takes us to item number 5. Madam Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 5 is a presentation and recommendation to approve a plan to change the,
So I was looking at item 4, there was a recommendation to accept a budget presentation.
Oh, I'm
And it's
sorry.
also listed as for possible action.
Okay. Hold on just a second. Okay. I apologize. I saw it was for possible action. I didn't know that we needed to do that. So what are you looking for, Mr. Watsfield? Do you just want us to accept it, the budget presentation?
Well, just reading the item, there's a recommendation to accept the budget presentation. I don't have the recommended motion in front of me, but you can do that as a motion, but then you also need to take public comment on it.
Okay. All right. We'll back
Move
up.
to accept the budget presentation.
Okay. Do I have a second? I have a motion and I have a second. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment on item number 4?
We do not.
Okay, we'll close public comment. I have a motion by Ms. Hill, second by Ms. Jung. Is there any other discussion on item number 4? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I always take Mr. Watsfield for possible action as possible action. Okay, item number 5, Madam Clerk. Madam Manager.
thank you. Now, item number 5 is a presentation and recommendation to approve a plan to change the current clerk's office hours pursuant to NRS 122.061 subsection 3, effective July 1, 2021, to require the clerk's office to remain open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on all days, including weekends, and open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on all holidays described in NRS 236.015. I'll turn this over to the county clerk, Ms. Galasini.
Ms. Galasini, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, Vice Chair and Commissioners. Jan Galasini for the record. My presentation today supports the request to change the office hours of the county clerk to reflect demographics and trends. My recommendation is to set the hours of operation in the clerk's office 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 365 days of the year, and 8 to 4 for the holidays. This presentation addresses the issuance of marriage licenses only. Our other functions are directed by NRS to be open 40 hours per week to conduct business. To begin, I'd like to show you the timeline of marriages in Washoe County. Beginning in 1871, the first licenses were issued. There were 12, through the peak in 1978, and the decline since then. Significant events are highlighted, and you can see where world events, economics, and other circumstances impact the issuance of marriage licenses. This slide compares Washoe and Clark counties. Interesting enough, up until 1954, Washoe County issued more licenses than Clark County. Today, and their trend, they issue about 10 times more licenses than Washoe County, so 70,000 versus 7,000. In 1979, there was a law that went into effect that set the hours of the clerk's office in Washoe County and Clark County from 8 a.m. to midnight every day of the year. This past legislative session repealed NRS 122.0615, which allowed chapels to issue licenses should the clerk's office not be opened. So when that was repealed, we began looking at our hours and where we could potentially make cost savings for the county. This slide represents a breakdown of licenses issued by day of the week. As you can see, Fridays and Saturdays are busier than the rest of the days. However, only 13% of our business occurs after 8 p.m. Of that, only 2.2% of those couples actually get married that same day. Analyzing this data, it seems feasible to reduce the office hours from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., except holidays 8 to 4. This slide shows a steady decline of the number of licenses after 8 p.m. since 2016. 2020 was an anomaly because we were issuing only by appointment and people were coming to get their licenses from out of town. This is a slide of observed holidays. A typical day would be an average of about 20 licenses per day. Our busiest holidays, were only 10% of licenses were issued after 8%, and there again, only 2% of those couples actually got married on that holiday. Just for fun, I included a non-holiday, which has been increasingly popular, which is 420. Another factor to consider is who we are serving. Over time, we have seen the transition from 70% non-local to a 50-50 split, meaning less non-locals are coming in for their licenses. So who's performing these weddings? There are 2 remaining standalone chapels in Washoe County, Arch of Reno in red and the Antique Angel in blue. The fastest growing trend has been independent officiants authorized to perform weddings, which is in green. We are seeing more couples opting to pick their venue, their officiant, which is consistent with the national trend. This is an illustration over time with the growing number of marriage officiants authorized in the county. Once again, 2020 was an anomaly because events just weren't happening. In summary, after reviewing all the data and trends, we've determined it will be a cost saving for the county while still serving the public if our hours are reduced from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., except 8 to 4 on holidays. The savings will come from reduced wages due to the amount of shift differential paid and holiday pay and holiday comp, which is paid at 2.5 times the regular rate. There are also security and facilities after hours costs to consider, as well as the safety and security of staff. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. All right, do we want to ask the clerk questions, or would we like to take public comment first? Okay, all right, thank you so much. Ms. Galasini, Madam Clerk, would you please call public comment?
First up, we have Jan Dusseldorp, followed by Kathleen Marino. This is Ginger Hudson.
Yes,
Okay, well,
with the Antique Angel Wedding Chapel.
okay, we have people.
She's hard of hearing, and.
Oh,
I
is
did-
this Miss
Yes,
Dusseldorp? Okay, I
Dusseldorp.
apologize. Okay, I did not realize. You were on the end of my list.
Okay, yeah, we're together, and she's hard of hearing,
Okay.
so it's hard to speak. We have the Antique Angel Wedding Chapel, and as you know, the Arch are the only two left. I think with the COVID, and then with the, you couldn't have very many people, which means that a lot of people calling in for marriages want more than 10 or 15 people. A lot of it depends on where the Arch and the Antique Angel is located. We have a lot and a big homeless problem there. As you know, last year, we got all of our windows broken out by the rioting. And now we have to deal with the homeless and all their junk, all their trash. I mean, it's daily. And we don't mind, dealing with people, but all the time, it's really bad. It took 3 years to get the sign changed on the corner of First and Virginia that pointed the Riverwalk going down First Street. Took me 3 years, but they finally put an arrow up the other way. And now when you have all of the things like Hot August Nights, I have a breathing problem, Hot August Nights and all that, you stop it at 2nd Street. There's, the Arch is between 2nd and First. We're between First and the river. Why don't, when you have city things, why don't you include those 2 blocks? Because when you have something special, we're totally left out in the cold. People get to 2nd and First, and they look at all of the trash and the homeless and the drunks and the drug addicts, and then they don't want to go any further. That's why people don't rent the empty buildings, too. Take a walk down Virginia Street between 2nd and the river and see what you think. And as far as the marriage licenses go, remember back in the old days when people used to come to Reno all the time, marriages and divorces. And now, because of COVID, because of limited people coming into your business, we're struggling. We're struggling. People, I have repeat customers in the gift shops, but we're still struggling. We have to fight with, like the River Fest. Everything was down there, and then they charged $10 a person to get in. Nobody was downtown, except going to the casinos. So between the casinos and the things that happen, you leave the city out from 2nd to the river. And it would be nice if you included those 2 blocks. We wouldn't mind at all, but it's nothing but a trash dump and a homeless gathering. Take a walk. Walk down First Street, walk down the Riverwalk. You'll be accosted by probably 20 people wanting something. I've seen tourists, and the one man was walking to the skate park the other day, and he got,
Thank you, Ms. Hudson.
am I through?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Anyway, he turned and ran back.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Next up, we have Ms. Kathleen Marino, followed by Patricia Simpson. And Kathleen Marino has provided some handouts, which I will pass out to the board.
Thank you. Welcome, Ms. Marino.
Welcome. Thank you, Vice Commissioner, Commissioners. It's been a while since I've been around here, but I'm basically going to repeat most of what I've got on these handouts. I've also emailed this to you all. I'm with the Arch of Reno Wedding Chapel, and we perform about 40% of all weddings in this county, along with Antique Angel. So with the two of us, we're over 50%. This year to date, we've performed over 1,100 ceremonies, and 90% of them are locals. Based on our estimates, we've had probably over 10,000 people that have come through our doors that are non-local. And I think that our industry has made a valuable contribution to the local tourism. Since COVID began, we're finding that there's a backlog of marriage license issuance in other states. Also, we're finding a backlog of issues with people finding marriage, or people to perform marriages. So what we're finding is that, once again, people are starting to come back to Reno to get married. You may not be aware, but the first quarter of 2020, we actually saw a slight increase in the issuance of marriage licenses. Now, this is something that's interesting because we haven't had much of any increases in a long time, but even though it was 5%, it was a little. Then beginning around September, when restrictions started easing, we started seeing some pretty significant increases. From September through December, we saw a 19% increase in the issuance of marriage licenses. And then this year, we've seen through May a 30% increase in issuance of marriage licenses. 11 years ago, we came before you pretty much for the same thing when the county had been given the power to decrease hours. When this happened, we had a lot of, we were already struggling, and we found that this was really hard on our industry. So along with the Flint family, myself, we went to the legislature and we had the law changed to take some pressure off the county, that if you couldn't issue marriage licenses, that we would be able to do that in order to maintain the hours to keep the tourists coming. I'm going to defer the rest of this to my mother, and she's going to speak next and finish this presentation. Thank you.
Next, we have Patricia Simpson.
Ms. Simpson, welcome.
Hello, I am Patricia Simpson. I am a board member of the Arch of Reno's Corporation, and I established the Arch of Reno Wedding Chapel over 19 years ago. And I am going to speak as if I were Kathleen, just to continue her presentation. Jan Galassini notified me several months ago that the Clerks Association had submitted a bill to the legislature that included repealing the section of the law allowing us to issue licenses. At that time, I expressed to Jan that we were opposed to the marriage license being closed earlier than 9 p.m. on weekdays and 11 p.m. Fridays and Saturday nights. My understanding at that time was that the county would work with us to be open the same hours as the chapels. I chose not to lobby against the Clerks Association amendment based on, because we have had a good relationship with the county. Soon after this bill passed, I received a call from Jan that the county decided the clerk's office should be open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and closed most holidays. And this proposal would be presented at the next county commission meeting. I expressed my disappointment that we were not given consideration based on previous conversations about the hours of operation. Currently 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays. Subsequently, Kathleen and I met with Jan, Kathy, and Donnie on June 17th. Based on our conversations, with our customers. The number one reason they choose to come to Reno to get married in the hours of operation of both is the hours that both the chapels and the Marriage License Bureau are open. With the upcoming 42% increase in the cost of marriage licenses, we believe this is not the time to make such a drastic 25% cut to the hours that licenses are issued. We believe the Marriage License Bureau should be open until 9 p.m. on Sunday through Thursday and at least 10 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays.
Thank you, Ms. Simpson. Okay,
We have no one else signed in.
okay. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this item before I close public comment? Okay, seeing none, I will bring it back to the board and commissioners.
Yes.
I have no one signed in wishing
I'm
to speak.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I didn't sign it.
Go ahead, Ms. Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was wondering for the clerk, is it true that we had been open at 9 a.m. and now we're trying also to open at 8 a.m. or could you clarify that?
The hours set by statute currently are 8 a.m. until midnight.
Okay.
Every day of the year.
Okay. And you were stating in your presentation that 13% of the licenses come in after 8 p.m., correct?
Only 13%, 87% of our business is conducted before 8 p.m.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate it.
Anyone else? Okay. All right. So this is for possible action. I'm torn both directions. The clerk is an elected official, and this is, in my opinion, her office to run. And statute directs certain operating hours. I can go both ways. So I'll entertain a motion either for or against, or what is the pleasure of this board?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
My concern is what I read in the staff report about the hours for the staff and how there's a real lack of flexibility for folks to come in and having to fulfill those additional hours. So I worry about whether this is something, we should look at for future budget items, if it's a major concern that we need to increase the clerk staff to have additional hours. But right now, I think it seems like the healthy way to go about reducing the hours for the staff of the county and then see what happens this year. That would be my thought.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Any thoughts or comments? Check your pulses. Okay, that's okay. All right. Very good. So do we, again, looking for a motion. And so what we have is, what before us is a request by the clerk to, let me look at the exact wording. Move. Okay, go ahead. Either way.
I would like to accept the clerk's recommendation. I'll tell you a couple reasons why. I believe this is her office to run as she sees fit. With that extra time, I would like to see more assistance to the county manager's office in these meetings and other meetings that you are responsible for in here that I don't feel like we've got a lot of response from in terms of running all of the electronics, but to help you manage your budget and make your staff happier, I would expect that in return, because when the Board of Health meets here, they're thrown in to try to figure out this, and that's very hard for people that don't use it every single day like you do. So I will expect more performance, and I will ask the manager to hold you to that, because it has not been that, my experience anyway. Now, COVID, I haven't been able to see your performance really, but I would like to see it stepped up if we give this to you in opposition to our constituents as well. The other issue is, and I just want everybody to realize the reality. I don't want to argue about why it's a reality. I'm going to tell you the way it is today. You're lucky if you can hang on to that staff. In May, it was the largest wholesale quitting of employees in America in our history. So to keep employees, while we don't have any extra money to keep them there, and I know it affects your small business too, but it really affects the ability of this county to run, and we're required by law to run this county. So everything that department heads can do to make this job attractive and to keep employees invested in this job, which is not salary. I'm going to repeat that again for the employees as well. We still, while we have an influx of grant funding, remember, any of these CARES Act and American Recovery Act, these are one-time funds. These are not something we can count on forever. So the creativity of our staff is going to really be on the line. I believe you are fulfilling what NRS is telling you to do in the new legislation. And I will make the motion to do the plan that the appointed clerk is asking for. And I hope there's nothing more I have to say, Mr. DA. I approve what the clerk has presented.
Second.
Mr. Wattsville, you started to go for your mic.
So the motion asked to accept the presentation and approve the recommendation, which is essentially what the commissioner said.
Okay. Okay. So I have a motion by Ms. Jung, second by Ms. Hill. And under discussion, I feel the same way. This is the clerk's office to run. And I believe that because it is an elected position, she has a certain amount of autonomy. Even though she was appointed to fill the seat, that still gives her all of the same powers as an elected official, because for all intents and purposes, that's essentially what she is, and that's what the office calls for.
Mr. Chairman, may I say something that you said a few weeks ago that I have taken to heart and have been popping off with it? Kindly, though, trying to act like you. And that is, the clerk doesn't come tell me how to make policy. And I'm not in the business to tell the clerk how to run her office, just like what you said with fire when we moved over to a different dispatch. We don't go out to the fires that are burning and tell the firefighters how to, thank God, how to fight their fire. So that is me being respectful with the ask included in that motion to see more cooperation and support for all meetings that are held on this dais and filmed. And remember, a few years ago, I know Communications Director Leuenhagen remembers this. I got almost every single board and commission to be public on the TV because, including RTC, my favorite board, because so much happens even at the senior service advisory level, which by the way they hate, and the Board of Health level. None of this was televised. And that's like, I'm sorry, 40 years behind Washoe County. So that we need that give and take here, but I am not going to tell the clerk how to run her office unless I give you the budget transfer, which I don't have, to enforce what other people are asking for. So I don't fight fires and I don't run clerk's office. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any other discussion under this item? Okay, seeing none, I have a motion by Ms. Jung, second by Ms. Hill. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any of those opposed? I think motion carries unanimously. Please affirm your votes. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you very much.
That takes us to item number 6. Madam Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 6 is the Commissioner and County Manager's announcements, reports, and updates to include boards and commission updates, requests for information, or topics for future agendas.
Okay. Okay, I have Commissioner Hill signed in first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just would like to remind the community that I am doing a virtual Q&A on topics for Incline Village and Crystal Bay. There's a lot going on up at the lake, but you definitely don't have to be a resident of Incline Village or Crystal Bay. This is affecting the entire county. As I like to say, the lake is all of ours. So feel free to join. It's at 6 p.m. this Thursday. You can find more information if you email Washoe311. We have posted the Zoom link information online, but you can also get it from Washoe311. And if you have any questions you want to submit ahead of time, I know there's going to be a lot of fun questions coming in live, but if you want to make sure your question gets heard during the meeting, we'll make sure that we post it early. And then also we'll be posting all the questions and the answers on our website after the meeting so people can be informed about how the meeting went if they can't attend. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Herman, I have you signed in next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, you are Mr. Chair today.
Thank you.
I have previously asked for a resolution to end the health emergency, and as a representative of the folks in the audience and many, many, many more that come to me with that plea. So I hope and pray that we can end this health emergency and go forward in a normal manner, giving people the right to live as we were previously able to do. The second item is, I am concerned about the courts being closed to the public the way they are, and the things that are going on in the courts. And I would like to suggest that we have Chief Judge Freeman possibly come and explain to us, that maybe explain to us why this is taking place this way, and why, you know, if there's any plan to change it. Can we do that?
Keep going.
That's it.
Okay, all right. Okay, as for me, I have actually had conversations with the manager about our role in the proclamation of the public health emergency. I agree. I mean, I don't see that we're in one any longer. I think that has to do with the health district. So the manager is on vacation this week, but I will also have conversations with him. On a completely different and unrelated topic, I would like to have an agenda item on, we have numerous area plans with non-conforming parcels. So let me give you an example. I was contacted by a fellow who has a 63-acre parcel, in the Highlands in Spanish Springs. He would like to make 2 31 and change acre parcels, and it is not allowed under general rural because they have to be a minimum of 40 acres. Now, this is ludicrous. There are numerous 10-acre, 20-acre, 30-acre parcels up there that are already zoned general rural, and they're, for all intents and purposes, non-conforming. And so I'm asking for an agenda item to come back. This is just in District 4, and I know that this exists in District 5. I know that it exists in Commissioner Lucy's district. In Commissioner Hill's district, there's probably some non-conforming parcels also. I'm not sure whether that exists in District 3, Commissioner Jung. But as you might recall, is there some in yours also? Okay, and I just haven't seen them come before me. But as you might recall, we had an issue out with Reno Christian Fellowship. They wanted half-acre parcels. They were willing to go with half-acre parcels, but that was non-conforming because LDS 2 was not allowed in the area plan, yet the parcels right to the south were half-acre parcels. So it just makes no sense to me. And I'm hopeful, instead of trying to crack open every single area plan and make that determination, maybe there's a way that we can sort of broad brush this when you have these existing parcels that are non-conforming, how we can make some of the similar applications to the parcels that are quote-unquote conforming. And again, how can a 30-acre parcel not be general rural? The guy wants to build one house on a 30-acre parcel, so he's not asking for some, massive change, and so that's what I have. Commissioner Jung, I have you signed in. Forgive the babble.
No worries, thank you. I just wanted to chime in with you and let you know that I absolutely support that. And I know the chair would as well, for some different areas in his area, especially Washoe City and Soul Dispensary and the outdoor amphitheater out there, and they're running into the same issue of area plans and conformance, and it really goes to show that a lot of our development code is about 40 years old, and not reactive to the way that uses are actually, land use happens in this valley. And so I would like to see that countywide. I also need staff to remind me of something, when, not today, when you get a chance via email and maybe CC everybody else, because I always feel like if I have a question or anybody has a question, somebody else has the question. And that is, are area plans required by law? If yes, why? If no, why do we do them? Because my experience has been, sitting up here 14 years in August, every single time somebody wants to do something with their parcel, we come into, but the area plan says we will have open space and rolling hills and butterflies and unicorns and rainbows. And the bottom line is the area plan is not legal and binding. Property owners have rights to do many things with their property. And your area plan, what I don't like is it creates disenfranchisement with the people who helped create the area plan because they're so invested. Staff has them spend 40 hours plus at these evening meetings. They love it, and I don't blame them. They're poured into it. They're completely committed to it. And then they find out area plan doesn't really mean anything. So we also create this churn and distrust of us and anger with us that is so very unnecessary. And I've never seen it work out where, yeah, that was good that we invested that time in that area plan and the citizens in that, because it has become an issue where people are so very invested. Staff has used them so very hard for free that when one change comes, this is their baby. And I don't believe it's very clear to anybody in this valley, especially volunteers that you use, that this is not written in your firstborn's blood. This is like anything in America. Laws always change. All you have to do is sue and win, right? But specifically in Washoe County, area plans and character maps and character statements mean nothing up here when it comes to a development. So I want to see where we can move this forward and stop promising people that something that we legally could never deliver. So that needs to be completely cleaned up. And that needs to be sooner rather than later, whoever's listening in here for CD, I'm not sure. And then I have one thing. I've already left a note for Elizabeth, who happens to be my calendar coordinator, and now I also just give her all my questions. It's probably wrong, so if the acting county manager can let me know the right workflow. Coming into work today, you guys know I live west of the university, and I come in here on Sattler to Audie, past the Evelyn Mount Community Center, and I take that jog. And I'm sure this isn't the only place, and I didn't have time to drive around the whole place, but because of the rodeo, RTC near their bus stations have garbage cans, and I don't know who's responsible to unload them, but they are overflowing on the ground all over the roads. And this is why my citizens who live at this district, this whole area is Kitty Jung, get so upset about the rodeo. Now listen, they get upset a lot of our tourist stuff, and I get that, and it's great that they have an outlet, this lady right here, but this, I don't want to be capped in hindsight, but this is obviously predictable and therefore preventable. More people equals more refuse. So if the manager could get on that, I already gave it to Elizabeth, Ms. Thomas, so you can just know that that's already been sent out. But I wanted to say that on the record because I know my constituents watch and worry about these same things, of the degradation of their neighborhood when special events come. And that, to me, is the easiest thing to predict and prevent. So if we can get on that, because we have a whole other week of rodeo, and my citizens, and it just looks horrible for people. And let me tell you something, they're all coming down my road, University Terrace, to get over here because everything's been so closed over here. So I know they're seeing all that, visitors to this community. And I don't like to give an untoward impression for anything in my life, but certainly not a community that my taxpayers have invested in and taken the leap with me to remain living in the best district in Washoe County. Just kidding, you guys all have great districts, but I still think mine's the best. But that's my other ask, Mr. Chairman, and if you can do something, that'd be great too. I think you're not the chair of the RTC, but you've been there a long time, and you've done a great job over there, and I know you'll be right on it. I just wasn't sure if you were aware of that as well. So thank you. But from all feedback I've received from people who have attended the rodeo, they've had a great time. One thing that I hear from a lot of people, and it makes me very proud, it makes me think I made a right decision when I moved here 23 years ago, and that is people always say to me how friendly people in Reno are. And I feel the same way. When my husband and I first moved here, we went to the Meadowood Mall to hang out. And we were like, what is everybody on? Everybody's nice. They're smiling at us and making eye contact coming from where we came in upstate California. That was not the way the world works. So I love that that persists, and I'm not sure what, it's probably the drinking water here. Thanks to Tumwa. I'm not sure why that is, but it is certainly something I want to say, great job, community, and thank you for being such nice hosts and hostess to the many travelers we have through this beautiful valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jung. And not to deliberate on this at all, I did not realize those cans were full. I will make a call as soon as the meeting is over to RTC to deal with that. And then I'd love to have coffee with you and talk to you about the history of the character management statements and the way the area plans evolved. If you look back at the area plan on Spanish Springs, sadly, my name is on it as a Citizens Advisory Board member, so I can kind of tell you how those things evolved and how the communities, the various communities wanted their own character, and they wanted their, to be recognized as separate and individual communities. So, but I'd love to have that conversation. I have no one else signed in. Is there anything else? Okay, Madam Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If you'll indulge me, I do have one announcement for
Oh, I apologize.
everyone.
Thank you.
Sure. So we wanted to give everyone the information that as a coordinated effort with the Regional Information Center, or the RIC that we all are familiar with during COVID, they have put together a really compelling documentary on homelessness, and that is going to premiere this afternoon, 4 p.m., Tuesday, today, June the 22nd, on Facebook Live. And this documentary explores the programs that target some of the causes of homelessness and the temporary housing that we pulled together as a region to put in place to address that acute need for shelter. So be looking for that. That's the City of Reno, City of Sparks, Washoe County. It was produced by our own WCTV, so it's a really important piece. It's 24 minutes long, so it is a documentary, so grab some popcorn and you can check that out this afternoon. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, I will close item number 6. That takes us to item number 7, our consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your consent agenda are items 7A1 through 7L1. I was asked by our Deputy District Attorney to call out item 7C2 for your consideration. There are 2 names in there, Chris Netzel and Jennifer Oliver, which are being recommended to be reappointed. So just wanted to call out those 2 names for the open meeting law.
Okay, all right. Before I ask commissioners anything, I would like to draw your attention to item 7I3, which is a recommendation to accept and approve an amendment to the Truckee River Flood Management Authority Interlocal Cooperative Agreement, or the ICA, which will change the voting structure. As you are probably aware from, literally, I have served on that board since day one. In 2013, I tried to undo the voting structure because it is unanimous only, period. One single member can say, no, I don't agree with that, and stop the Flood Management Authority from getting us a project on the ground, and even components of that project, of the overall project. So I am currently the chair of that commission, and this is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I think it is timely, and so I would appreciate the support of the commission. Commissioners, is there anything else under the consent agenda before I call for public comment? Okay, seeing none, Madam Clerk.
I have nobody signed in for any of these items.
Okay, all right, I will close public comment and bring it back to the board, looking for a motion on the consent agenda, which is item number 7, 7A1 through 7L1.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Hill. Do I have a second? I have a second by Ms. Herman. Motion by Hill, second by Herman. Is there any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I believe motion carries unanimously. Please affirm your votes. Okay, that takes us now to item number 8. Commissioner Jung, do you have a block vote for us?
Yes, thank you for letting me fill in for you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make in the form of a motion and looking for a second, so Madam Manager would have the opportunity to read this. for a real long time. The items are item 8 through 21, with the exception of 18, which is the Library Board of Trustees appointment. And I am making that in a form of a motion. So it's item 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, and 21.
Okay, very good.
Mr. Chairman, I'll
Commissioner
make a second to that motion with a friendly amendment to add item 18 with a nomination for Frank Perez.
Okay,
I support that, Mr. Chairman.
okay, so that would be all items inclusive of 18 from 8 through 21, with the addition of Frank Perez as the member to fill the vacancy on the Washoe County Library Board of Trustees.
Yes, and as appropriate and can't even remember, customary with this board, Commissioner Alexis Hill, in addition to all the other boards and commissions she's juggling, is our library liaison.
Okay.
So it's important that these are people that she can work with, and I support that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have a motion by Commissioner Jung, second by Commissioner Hill. Before we allow these to be read, actually, let's go ahead and allow them to be read, and then I'll ask for public comment at that time, Madam Clerk.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 8 is a recommendation to approve a lease agreement between Washoe County and 601 West Moana LLC for a 60-month term commencing July 1, 2021 through June 30, 2026 for the District Health Department Women, Infant, and Children's, or WIC program, to provide for the continued occupancy at 601 West Moana Lane, Reno, Nevada. That's for $182,508 for the 5-year term. Item number 9 is a recommendation to approve the amendment to the agreement for the purchase and sale of the Truckee River water rights claim, DTR 50/50A, between Washoe County and Great Basin Land and Water on behalf of the Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe for the sale of 28.55 acre-feet of water rights at the appraised value of $197,000. 1, remove condition precedent 2, which requires that the Riverbend Mobile Home Park and Storage LLC shall have received a favorable outcome quieting title in case number CV 20-01187 in the Second Judicial District Court and for the State of Nevada. And 2, remove condition precedent 3, which requires that a boundary line adjustment deed is recorded on the Washoe County property identified as assessor's parcel number 038-100-34 as contemplated in the aforementioned quiet title action, and if approved, authorize ACM Solero to sign title reports and associated documents related to the purchase and sale agreement. Item number 10 is a recommendation to approve the asset reassignment of multiple vehicles from various Washoe County departments to the Equipment Services Fund to capitalize the vehicles as equipment services assets in conformance with the county's fleet management policy, and direct the Comptroller's Office to make appropriate asset adjustments. And that net amount is $364,682.38. Item number 11 is a recommendation to approve the 7th Amendment to the Cooperative Agreement for Contractual Professional and Administrative Staff Services between the Western Regional Water Commission, WRWC, and Washoe County to reimburse the Community Services Department for staff services provided to the WRWC and Northern Nevada Water Planning Commission, or NNWPC. The amendment will, 1, extend the term of the existing agreement indefinitely, cancelable by either party by 60 days' notice. 2, reimburse the county for all WRWC and NNWPC employee-related expenditures, including overhead. And 3, continue to allow the county to use assigned employees on a part-time basis for county business that does not conflict or interfere with their WRWC or NNWPC responsibilities. Estimated wages, benefits, and overhead budgeted in fiscal year '22, and submit to the county reimbursement as a result of this agreement, and that is at $438,566. Item number 12 is a recommendation to approve the purchase of services for $2,768,444.97 with the Board of Regents, and that's the Nevada System of Higher Education, or NSHE, on behalf of the University of Nevada, Reno Public Health Training Center to provide a team of employees to assist in the health district's COVID response activities, to include, but not be limited to, disease investigation, call center and testing and vaccination site management services for the period of July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2023. Item number 13 is a recommendation to approve budget amendments totaling an increase of $13,780,918 in both revenue and expense to the fiscal year 21 Epidemiology and Laboratory Capacity, or ELC, Enhancing Detection Expansion Subaward. That's retroactive to January 15th, 2021 through June 30th, 2023, and direct the Comptroller's Office to make the appropriate budget amendments. Item number 14 is a recommendation to accept a subaward amendment from the State of Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Welfare and Supportive Services, Child Care Licensing, in the amount of $553,879 with no county match. That's retroactive to July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, and that provides child care licensing and monitoring within Washoe County, and authorizing the Director of the Human Services Agency to execute the subaward and related documents. Item number 15 is a recommendation to accept a fiscal year 21 PL 116 Chafee Foster Care Program Subgrant Award from the State of Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, or DHHS, their Division of Child and Family Services, or DCFS, in the amount of $658,600 with no county match. That would be retroactive from October 1, 2020 to September 30th, 2022 to support youth who are aging out of the foster care system with achieving greater independence, and authorizing the Director of the Human Services Agency to retroactively execute the grant award and direct the Comptroller's Office to make the necessary budget amendments. Item number 16, services between Hand Up Homes and Washoe County through the 2nd Judicial District Court and the Department of Juvenile Services, with a contract term effective July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2024, and an estimated total value of $489,770, and if approved, authorize the purchasing and contracts manager to execute the agreement. Item number 17 is a recommendation to approve the professional services agreement for services between Quest Counseling and Consulting and Washoe County through the 2nd Judicial District Court and the Department of Juvenile Services, with a contract term effective July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2024, at an estimated total value of $750,000. And if approved, it authorizes the purchasing and contracts manager to execute the agreement. Item number 18, which was called out and recommends Frank Perez, is a recommendation to appoint one candidate from a pool of applicants. Those applicants include Scott Benton, Nina Moore, and Frank Perez, to fill one vacating seat on the Washoe County Library Board of Trustees with a term effective July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2025. Item number 19 is a recommendation to approve an interstate interlocal contract between the State of Nevada, acting by and through its Department of Health and Human Services Division of the Public and Behavioral Health Lakes Crossing Center, and Washoe County for professional services to conduct mental health evaluations of defendants. That's effective July 1, 2021 to June 30th, 2025, and is not to exceed $1,506,400 for the 4-year term, which is $376,600 annually. Item number 20 is a recommendation to approve a 3-year renewal agreement between the County of Washoe and Washoe Legal Services to provide for the legal representation of children in the Child Protective Services System, effective July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2024, and that's a fixed annual amount of $226,014. And then lastly, item 21 is a recommendation to, 1, approve the use of general fund contingency in the amount of $240,000 needed to support the Safe Camp Facility project, and 2, approve unbudgeted transfers of $50,000 from the adopted fiscal year 2021 Manager's Office to support the Safe Camp Facility project, and $890,000 from the adopted fiscal year 2021 Sheriff's Office to support various public safety projects. Approval of the general fund contingency will leave $0 available in this fiscal year 2021. The unbudgeted transfers have a net zero impact on the fiscal 21 general fund adopted budget, and if approved, it will direct the Comptroller's Office to make the necessary budget appropriation transfers and unbudgeted transfers.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, public comment.
Yes, sir. We have, for item 13, Cindy Martinez.
Okay.
Looks like 12, 13, 18, and 21. Is that what you signed up for?
Not 18, 12, 13, and 21. And if I may, if I can just jam it all into one comment, I'd be happy to do that.
Sure.
For the
Floor is yours.
records, thank you. For the record, Cindy Martinez. I'm really disappointed to see how this commission is managing this agenda. To have this many agenda items crammed into a consent agenda, and then to to list agenda items individually, giving the impression that we're going to review them and hear the content of them individually, and then to have them crammed into a block vote, I think is irresponsible. It's lazy, it's sneaky, and I would posit that it's to hide from the citizenry the contents of what's in these documents. And I would say about 12 and 13, just in synopsis, is what I'm keeping an eye on, and I need to find out, and I'll probably have to talk to either the county manager or someone legal, to find out where I can FOIA what money came from the federal government and what you're spending it on. Because as I go through these agendas, there are millions of dollars running through your fingers, and especially going to the homeless camp that Ms. Thomas is responsible for overseeing. And the thing is the homeless, and there's still people that are hanging out on the river in the streets. The chapel owners talked about what they're having to encounter in front of their businesses. Where is this money going? Where is the relief for the citizens of the Washoe County? This is unconscionable. And then I would also say to item number 21, it's just further examples of Safe Camp Project. It is a money black hole. And the irony of government trying to find solutions to problems are problems that the very government created. The solution to government-caused problems is not more government. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I'm really disappointed, I'm dismayed, I'm very, very concerned, because what's going to happen when all of this federal money runs out is most of you will either be retired or on to your next lucrative government job, and we're going to be left holding the bag. And the citizenry is going to be wondering what happened. And so now what I've been finding in the last almost 7 months that I've been coming to this commission and tracking what's going on is the absolute irresponsibility and like Bruce Parks likes to say, is that government spends money like drunk sailors, which is an insult to drunk sailors, because drunk sailors spend their own money. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have an email for the record from Scott Benton.
Okay.
That would be placed on
Yes.
record.
Okay. All right. We have a motion by Commissioner Jung, second by Commissioner Hill, for the items listed in the block vote. Is there any discussion under these items? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, that takes us now, Madam Manager, to item number 22.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 22 is the first reading of an ordinance, and I'm going to turn that over to Clerk Galasini to
Okay.
take it from here.
Madam Clerk.
This will be Bill number 1861, an ordinance amending Washoe County Code, Chapter 110, Development Code, Article 606, parcel maps. The amendment updates references to the certain name of the Community Services Department, Planning and Building Division, clarifies language by removing the term subdivision, requires approval of a tentative subdivision map in accordance with Washoe County Code 110.060.608 for division of a lot or lots created within 5 years of the recording of a map creating the original parcel, and removes noticing requirements for the tentative parcel maps and other matters necessarily connected therewith and pertaining thereto, and amending Washoe County Code, Chapter 110, Development Code, Article 916, Establishment of Committees, Section 110.916.05, Parcel Map Review Committee. The amendment clarifies the members of the Parcel Map Review Committee, defines the process of appointment to those members, provides for the appointment of alternate members, and sets the terms for members of that committee and other matters necessarily connected therewith and pertaining thereto.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, I see we have Mr. Roger Pelham in the audience. do the commissioners desire a presentation from staff? Okay. Mr. Pelham?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. For the record, Roger Pelham with Washoe County Planning and Building. Well, it's nice to be here again after such a long period of time. I do have a presentation here. This is a development code amendment to change two different sections of code that have to do with the creation of parcel maps. Now, parcel maps are essentially minor subdivisions, that is to say 4 lots or fewer. So the first part is to get rid of the term subdivision. That subdivision and minor subdivision used to be in NRS. We don't really use that anymore. We now use the term parcel map. The most substantive aspect of this change is that instead of being able to create 3 lots plus a remainder, 3 lots plus a remainder, 3 lots plus a remainder, any number of times, what we used to call serial parcel maps, will now require a tentative subdivision map, and that is to say a major subdivision, that's 5 lots or more. The main reason for this is we have received a significant amount of criticism over the years that the process of using serial parcel maps sort of circumvented, as it were, the process of going to the Planning Commission. Parcel maps are approved by the Parcel Map Review Committee, which is made up of staff members. The Planning Commission, on the other hand, is made up of appointed officials that are appointed by this board. The Planning Commission essentially represent a higher level of review than the Parcel Map Review Committee. And I should say, and the other part is, in the past several years, we've changed the name of our department several times, and we're still bringing all of those references consistent with the current names. And then establishment of the Parcel Map Review Committee, again, because there have been any number of reorganizations over the last several years. We have positions listed as members that no longer exist. They're no longer county employees, so we've actually trimmed that down a little bit. It'll be 5 members rather than 7. They're defined, and we have a specific process laid out for appointment of those members by their department heads. And I believe I pretty much covered this. Really, this is intended to recognize the current organizational structure of the county. Again, this is going to clarify how Parcel Map Review Committee members are appointed and who exactly they are. We are now allowing 4 alternate members so that we make sure that we have a quorum each time, so that we don't put people in the position of not being able to make a decision by not having a quorum. We did have a public workshop about really the most critical question, I thought, and I thought it was a very good question, is if we change this to going to the Planning Commission rather than the Parcel Map Review Committee, will the same level of expertise be brought to bear on each one of these projects? And the answer to that is yes. It will simply be done at a different stage. In this case, that sort of technical review will be done by members of the various departments. All of those are funneled to the planner. We put those together into what are called conditions of approval. Then that will go to the Planning Commission rather than each one of those individuals providing those comments at the Parcel Map Review Committee meeting itself. Notice for this hearing was, was published in the Gazette Journal. That being said, I believe that the findings can be made for change to the development code. And we have a possible motion here. This is also included, I believe, on page 3 of your staff report. And with that, I am available for any questions that you may have.
Okay, commissioners, questions for Mr. Pelham? Okay? No? Okay. Before I ask for someone to introduce this, Madam Clerk, do we have anyone signed in for public comment?
There's nobody signed in.
Okay. Looking for an introduction of Bill 1861.
Move to introduce bill number 1861 and set the public hearing and second reading of the ordinance for possible adoption during the County Commission meeting of July 20th, 2021.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. That's all we need. All right, I will go on to item number 23, and I will open up the public hearing section of our agenda. The public hearing is open. Item number 23, Madam Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 23 is a public hearing and possible action to, one, consider a report of each property delinquent on its utility charges and the amount of each property's delinquency, along with any objections to that report, and two, after considering the report and any objections to it, determine whether to adopt the report and correspondingly adopt Resolution 21-022 to collect certain delinquent utility charges on the tax roll. I believe we have staff here to answer any questions.
I see Mr. Hutchins in the back. Okay. Commissioners, do we need a presentation by staff? Okay. All right. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Move to hold a public hearing to consider a report of each property delinquent on its utility charges and the amount of each property's delinquency, along with any objections to the report.
That's okay. All right. So I have a motion by Ms. Hill, second by Ms. Jung. Is there any discussion by the board? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Mr.
Aye.
Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
there is no public comment on this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I asked for public comment. I apologize. Forgive me, Madam Clerk. Thank you so much. Thanks for reining me back in. Okay, motion and a second. Seeing no other discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Please affirm your votes. Okay, that takes us to item number 24. Madam Manager.
Mr. Chair, item number 24 is a public hearing on a recommendation to approve a lease agreement between Washoe County and the Nevada Tahoe Conservation District, or NTCD, to lease a portion of 625 Mount Rose Highway, the Incline Village Road Maintenance Facility in Incline Village, Nevada, at no cost to enhance efficiencies and reduce travel times for project management construction support from NTCD staff to the county for the Lower Wood Creek Water Quality Improvement Phase 1 project for a 6-month term commencing June 23rd, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, with an option for 2 additional terms of 1 year each, and direct the chair to execute and deliver the proposed lease agreement to NTCD upon the performance and compliance of all of the terms and conditions of the lease to be performed concurrently with the delivery.
Okay. All right, Commissioners, do we need a presentation on this item? I see that we have Mr. Dwayne Smith in the back of the room. Okay, all right, seeing none. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment on this item?
There's nobody signed in.
You're training me well. Thank you. Okay, I will close public comment and bring it back to the board looking for a motion. This is in Commission District 1.
Yes,
Ms.
thank you. Move to approve the lease agreement between Washoe County and the Nevada Tahoe Conservation District to lease a portion of 625 Mount Rose Highway of the Incline Village Road Maintenance Facility in Incline Village at no cost, and direct the chair to execute and deliver the proposed lease agreement to NTCD upon the performance and compliance of all the terms.
You have a motion by Ms. Hill, second by Ms. Jung. Is there any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Please affirm your votes. Okay. All right, Commissioners, that takes us, we will close the public hearing section of our agenda, and that takes us back straight on to item number 25, public comment. Madam Clerk.
Vance Rushing.
Mr. Rushing, welcome back.
Howdy do. Overhead camera again, please.
May we have the overhead, please? Thank you.
That there is a weapon. We seem to have no problems accepting the number of casualties racked up in 18 months that took 20 years in Vietnam. Roughly 50,000 casualties, deaths by that weapon. That particular weapon is one of 3 models of a 1974 Lincoln Continental. How many of you know what happened in 1980, Thanksgiving Day, here in Reno? Yeah, Mr. Hartung, how about you, Janine? Do you know what happened? Priscilla Ford took one of these cars. I don't know if it was the sedan, the coupe, or the coupe with the suicide doors. But she took a 1974 Lincoln Continental, drove down the sidewalks of downtown Reno in the Casino District on Virginia Street, killed 6 people, murdered 6 people. Today, we call that a mass murder, or if it's done with a gun, a mass shooting. But again, we have no problem accepting the casualty rate on our roads nationwide. I suggest that we ban all automobiles because potentially they can be used as weapons. And how many thousands of times since the invention of the automobile, it has actually purposely been used as a weapon to run people down. Ban my ARs? Not on my watch. And by the way, I'm one of those sailors, although I was a little more disciplined with the alcohol because I had an alcoholic father. And they do spend only their own money. Oh, one more thing. Going back to 1970, living down in San Diego, I was a member of the National City Swim Club, and I was witness to one Jack Webster using a golf club as a weapon against one of our fellow swim club members, William McGrew. Cracked his skull open. The good thing was that he did not suffer any brain damage. But after that incident, it was open warfare between the parents of Jack Webster and William McGrew. You couldn't put the parents of those 2 kids in the same room with each other.
Thank you, sir. Will you give that to the clerk? The photograph, please. Thank you. Okay, I will close public comment and bring it back to the board. Thank you so much. Item number 26, commissioners. Any announcements? Ms. Jung? Ms. Hill? Ms. Herman? Madam Manager, do you have anything else for us? Okay, I will close item number 26. We are adjourned.